are back to the BS show. Beyond the streams. that was a little dramatic right there. Dun dun dun.
I don't know why so serious, man.
Oh man. So today, Next Level and I have a special guest today, Paperpl8fan. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We're
fantastic.
Tired?
We're doing it. We are doing it. Now, if anybody's watching this episode for the first time, Next Level and I have had a hell of a day. Mm-hmm. He came over, took all my chicken wings, and
oh my God, it's always about chicken wings with you.
I want chicken wings, damn it. I've been crazy. You know what's funny? I actually, this is no joke. This is no joke. So okay, all jokes aside, last weekend I ordered 80 wings. 80 wings. And they had, I forget how many flavors they had. They have like 20 some different flavors of different stuff. So I did every 5 wings was one flavor. I was in heaven.
Hey, how many were left?
Within an hour, none.
Okay, but how many people were there?
Me by myself.
Oh my God.
Gone. Wow. That's crazy. I'm lucky if I can eat like 25 or 30 of them.
I felt I was chowing down, and next thing you know, I was like, where did they go? I felt, and then the worst part about it was, I felt fine. I didn't feel like, I've been working out, so my metabolism's been working. So I was like, cool. I was able to eat all this stuff. I feel great. I had, I had a beer and everything. The next day, though, woo.
Yeah,
that's where you were for the last hour. Okay.
Actually,
never mind. So, Paper.
You go. Nose goes.
Well, I'm just gonna start it off. The most commonly asked question you probably get is paper plate. Why? What's paper plate? Who's paper plate?
Who's paper plate?
Yeah, how'd you get that nickname?
The name actually started a long time ago, probably in, I want to say, high school. But so the people that don't know, I was abused as a child, physically, sexually, mentally. And so I always felt like I was kind of disposable, just here, just to be thrown off. So that's where the idea of paper came in. And I'm a huge Dale Jr. fan when he raced. So he drove the number 8 car, and as well as the number 8, being standing for infinity. I kind of smashed it all together and was like, hey, paper plate fan. And I hate doing dishes. So it kind of worked, and it just kind of stuck. And that's been, I started just with my email from back in the Hotmail era, and just carried it through. It's kind of followed me. It was my gamer tag on every platform that I played on, and just kind of carried it with me. So that's where the name came from.
That's pretty cool. Paperplate fan. It's interesting.
A lot of people get mixed up when they first see it. Paper plate. When I first started talking in YouTube chats and whatnot, a lot of people had to know what or how it was, and I think Next Level was actually the first one that I really started talking in. And the one night, I remember the one night very clear. He's like, well, I'm going to jump off of here at such and such in Canada. And I was like, well, be careful when you jump off, so you don't break an ankle or something like that. he didn't know how to take me. He's like, what are you talking about, Paper?
Yeah. Now, how did you, I guess you used to, okay, so I know we have the military background. So how long were you in the service? Why did you decide to get into the service? How, does streaming have a connection, or YouTube have any connections with the service? Be kind of cool to see how that story goes within the service with YouTube and how you got to where you're at now.
So yeah, it kind of does actually. I was in the Navy for 4 years. I was on the USS Enterprise, and I was an aviation ordnanceman. So I got to sit and babysit bombs all day on the flight deck, and which was a real energetic, high-paced job. You know, sitting around watching bombs, make sure they didn't sneeze, and you know. But, so we spent a lot of off time. You know, the guys sitting there and watching the bombs, and we'd always talk about just different ideas and how, as some of us were kind of techie, you know, and whatnot, and we talk about the games and stuff that we tried to patch when we were kids and whatnot, and so that I got into a little clique there with some guys, and that was the beginning of what else can I do with this knowledge. But years later, several years later, I kind of came back to it. The military, I had a really bad divorce, and it was happening towards the end of those first 4 years of enlistment, and actually it went really downhill real quick when I got hurt. I hurt my knee on the ship, and my back, and so they wanted to give me a medical discharge at that point in time. I didn't want it because I didn't want to be stuck in that cliche of, okay, well, you're only 10%. That's where you're going to be for the rest of your life. Sorry about your luck. So I finished out my 4 years, and I actually really wanted to re-enlist, but because of the situation with the divorce, I knew there was no way I was going to get custody of my child at the time as active duty and being in the military. So I went ahead and got out at the end of my 4 years, and got the divorce, got custody, and started business, and ran into another little clique of people that were tech involved, and which kind of made things start clicking. Hey, I remember talking to this person here on the ship that, you know, this and this, he did it this way, and it just kind of butterfly effect, you know, domino effect into this, and the interest got to the point where as soon as the Xbox came out and I knew about XBMC, I was like, man, what can I do with this? So that was the beginning of it all, going into the streaming side of things. And I got into Cody with the XBMC stuff there, of course. And, well, it was XBMC, the same thing as Cody. Yeah. But then APKs came about, and I was just like, wow, this is much easier. You know, I can just put whatever I want, and it's there, and there. This is cool.
Can you give us a time frame as to like when you first started messing with XBMC and stuff like that?
It was probably about 3 months after the Xbox originally came out. The first Xbox, so
2006, 5, 7.
I was it that?
We're all looking it up right now.
2001.
2001. That's when I got out of service. So that's probably about right.
Damn, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. So that was my first tinkering around with it, and just. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of information on YouTube. There wasn't a lot of information anywhere about any of it. So it's kind of like trial and error. What can I do with it? Oh, okay, well, that didn't work. Shit. You know, gotta clear that all out and start back over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So there was a lot of trial and error. But that's so that's when I got kind of interest. My interest just kept building into it. And then I kind of backed away from it for a while. I started a business doing drywalling and painting and general maintenance, general contracting. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to do anything with it. And other than on the side, maybe a couple hours here and there at night. And as you all know, it takes Stillborn a couple hours a day to follow up on this stuff or keep going. So from the business side of it, I did that for about 7 years, and then my injuries, my knees and back and stuff had gotten to the point where I wasn't able to go up and down the ladders or kneel down to do carpet or, whatever it may have been. And got rid of the business and went back interested. And I was like, man, I'm going to go back and see where all this stuff's at now. And wow. I was like, man, so there's like 7 people on YouTube back when I was into this. Now there's like 70,000. Shit.
Yeah.
So it was so much easier just to pick and, well, I want to say easier, but if you could find the right people that made sense to you,
right.
It was much easier to follow along and pick up tips and tricks and follow along and do it exactly as they did, or so I did that with the Cody thing, and then not for very long though, because once I got back into it all, wasn't real long before I was over in the UK when all the Cody stink started, when people were putting IPTVs and whatnot services into the Cody builds, and it shit went downhill real quick, and almost everybody's builds were going down and add-ons were going down, and not builds, but add-ons were going down. And that's when I found APKs. Mm-hmm. And that was probably in mid 2012, 13, maybe 2014.
Yeah.
I totally dumped Cody and went strictly APKs. Everybody I started doing fire sticks on my own, and for other people, other than friends and family. And the first one, my first order was actually for somebody in Canada.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So they was like, it was crazy. He's like, why don't you just order me one and ship it to me? And I was like, shipping's what? $73? What? Can't you just order it there?
Nope. Not back then. Right. They didn't sell them back then. They only started selling the second generation ones and the 4K fire sticks. We didn't have the first gen.
Right. So that was like, I looked it up to ship it to him. I was like, man, that's there's got to be something you can buy that instead of spending $80 for shipping and $40 on a device, there's got to be something you can do. It was either we import something from outside of Canada or we're stuck with a mag box. Wow.
So how long ago was that? That was probably a good 4 or 5 years ago then.
Oh yeah. It was I was living in Myrtle Beach at the time, so it was probably 2015. Yeah. I'd say. Yeah. So 2015, 2016, right in that area. Yeah. When that was my first shipment, it was crazy because somebody would pay that much for a device that nobody even wants now.
Yeah, right. Nobody even wants it now. It's funny. So it's fair to say that you've been messing with devices for a little while, huh?
I have been messing with devices for just a little while. But I don't know that I've spent or directed my time into strictly learning completely about one side of the device. I travel. Everybody knows I travel around a lot in groups and love sponging it up, just absorbing everybody's knowledge and going and trying it, and it's worked. But now I'm starting to get back into learning about Cody. Cody's has relit a fire, and I'm starting to get back into that side of things and just playing around. And
that's cool.
It's So
yeah, when you started to play with XBMC back in the day, back in so the Xbox One, I think Next said it was 2001 when it came out.
Yeah, right.
XBMC I think was 2004 ish, roughly. It wasn't too far after when XBMC came out. Where did you get how did you run into it? Where did you get your information?
There was a guy that I was around, and he was a huge basketball fan. We'd always chop it up about basketball games. And he's like, you should go try out and check out this this thing here. It's called XBMC, and put this link in it, and you'll be amazed. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went home and fired up the Xbox, the XBMC, and put that link, the URL in there. I was like, wow, where did he find this URL? So that was just like, that's where it started at. So,
you don't remember what the build or the add-on was called or anything like that?
Don't.
Right?
Yeah, no, I don't. I all I remember it was all pink. Because
The original.
All my buddies would come over and I fired up XBMC and the screen would be pink, with all the stuff around it. And he's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Back in the day, so Next Level is not he's not a Cody expert. He's a chicken wing expert. It's never ending here, okay? But when back in the day, there was no such thing as builds or add-ons or nothing like that back then. Back then it was you opened up XBMC, you would put the URL in there, and then it would just pull stuff. You would find a grip. It's almost like I guess it's comparable to like an M3U list where you would get a URL link, it would connect to it, and then it would bring first thing, like it would just bring everything in there, which was it was crazy. It's so I had a conversation with somebody else, and I know Next Level was here, and I was telling him how insanely like XBMC back then worked great. Like you didn't have to worry about buffering or not finding something. Like everything was always there. You could find, like, if you knew where to look and how to find and how to put stuff in there. Like
the hardest part was finding a good place to look. Because everyone was like dead silence when you would try to look for the stuff or ask somebody for something. It was all, I don't know, man. You have to try to search around for that. Nobody talked about any of it, and but I come across.
It's been great. I don't know if you haven't seen. Have you seen the interview with the Butcher?
No, not yet.
So when you get a chance, watch that interview because he was actually there when like add-ons began.
Okay.
Like when the whole the way Cody is now, he was there when it actually started. Like with that group, before there were add-ons, before there was groups, before anything like that. He was there before TVA, before Noobs and Nerds, before XUnity, like before any of that noise. He was a part of like one, and they weren't even called a group or a team or nothing. It was just a bunch of guys putting their ideas together. And you know how it goes. Yeah. As soon as you see a little bit of money, all of a sudden, and it's sad. It's sad to see it like that because it's, like when you think about it, back in, so I'm pretty sure you being in the Navy, especially the Navy, you got to travel and you got to do stuff. And did you ever get a chance to go overseas?
My first deployment was in December of '99, and that's when we went over and bombed. And so that was, no, I did not.
I know what you mean.
Unfortunately, but even the, going out on the workups and whatnot was just, it was pretty amazing seeing what all went on and just seeing nothing, waking up in the morning and looking out and just nothing for as far as you can see in every direction, other than a few Navy ships, and a lot of times you couldn't even see them. They were falling, so far back or whatever. But it was like I would gladly go back in and do it all over again.
Yeah.
So
what I was gonna say was and you know what, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the PX.
Yep.
There is also so next level. A PX is like a grocery store, convenience store.
Okay.
You didn't have to pay for taxes, and everything was like at cost. It was like pretty damn freaking cheap, like what you got stuff. I'm sure they still made a profit because obviously it's military stuff. They don't get taxed on certain stuff, so they make some profits to keep afloat and to pay for employees. But the government played for, I don't know. I don't want to get too far into that hole, but what I was trying to compare it to when you went, like, especially like overseas, one of the things, and I know with the PX, with the different types of vending machines that you would see on the ships, you would hardly pay for stuff, and just like stuff was readily like available for you, Cody was like the same. Like everything was just there. It worked. You did a little bit of work to get stuff, to pull stuff in, and it worked just fine. And then of course, got to be somebody like, hey, wait a minute. We can do, we can make some money. And I don't know if, so I'm sure you bought some Android devices along your route to streaming and going through stuff like that. Did you ever buy an Android device where it had TV add-ons all installed in it?
So the very first device that I bought, other than Xboxes or Fire Sticks or computers or whatnot, was this, the Infinity 4K.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's 1 and 8, 1 gig RAM. So, you want to do a giveaway?
Yeah. You catch yourself. I don't want to break.
So
someone's gonna call us and say, like, your shit don't work. Like, it's free. Shut up.
So that was the first real Android box that I actually really messed with, other than TVs and phones or tablets and that type of stuff. As far as an actual box, that was the first one that I'd ever messed with, and I hated it. I hated it, and I think knowing now what I didn't know then, there would have been several. Probably been a lot easier to manipulate the box. But I didn't know what I know now. So I was just kind of like stumbling through it like somebody that I would sell it to, and I hated that thing, and I couldn't give it away. I give it to my son, I got it back. I give it to my friend, and I got it back. So last thing I tried on it was actually Philly Cable Dave's that Aiden's ROM thing, but I couldn't even get it to work because it doesn't power on by the USB or HDMI. So I was like, okay, so what to do? And then from there, it went back to mostly Fire devices. I mean, that's like what everybody has. And as I started getting my name out just by word of mouth, just with friends and family and stuff, I got a lot of people bringing me Fire Sticks that they had already had that had a Cody build on it, and wanting to see, I seen such and such's, man, and I love how it's set up. Can you do mine? As soon as I plug it in, it would be 90% of the time it was Wookiee. I don't know if you guys remember the Wookiee build or not, but yeah. So that's what I got. Probably 90% of the devices I got brought back to me was Wookiee.
Was that the first build that you started to play with?
No. The first build I started to play with was man, I can't even remember. It was through a wizard that was Misfit Mods, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Misfit Mods.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was Misfit Mods.
They're about 3. I think they came around like 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago.
No, it wasn't them then. Maybe that's where I went to. It was back right around the 5-year mark when I was in Myrtle Beach. And there was they were constantly getting shut down, and then they would come out with another way of doing their wizards. Yeah, I can't remember, but I do remember going to Misfit Mods for a while.
Yeah,
and that's about the time that I completely walked away from Cody. And
they screwed it up for everybody. Damn you, Misfit Mods.
so yeah, and from there I went to just strictly doing nothing but ATKs. I wouldn't even. Someone would ask me to put a Cody build on. I wouldn't. No, sorry. But here's somebody that will. Or go look at this guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
He can probably help you out or walk you through it if you watch his video. I just didn't even want to mess with it.
Yeah. What was your back in the day? Well, you're talking about direct links and stuff like that. Once the add-ons started to come around, what was your first favorite add-on that you're just like, okay, this one's pretty cool?
Either Uranus or start with the V.
V?
Yeah.
V.
Trying to think. I'm pretty sure it started with the V. It was right. It was on the same time era. And usually with Uranus, it was right there. Usually in the same build. They put them in the same build a lot of times. And Bob's.
Bob was good. Bob and Lee.
Bob. Yeah. I like Bob. There was a sports one too that was real big that I loved.
Sports Devil, Rising Tide.
Sports Devil. Yeah. So. Yeah, like I said, it's been the memory of some of that stuff is like kind of washed away.
Purposely.
Yeah. But yeah, I do remember. Man, it was some type of I want to say it's some type of like a galaxy or something like that is what it reminded me of when you would open it up. It was.
It'll come close after the show, probably.
Yeah.
Elysium. I'm trying to think of Galaxy ones.
Elysium.
Okay.
Yeah. Elysium. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Elysium. Yeah.
Yeah. I forget. Elysium was a fork of something. I forget what Elysium was. A fork of something. And I know the Uranus was a fork of something also.
Yeah. I think they were all right after the big UK stink.
Yeah. I know all those add-ons that you mentioned. I know all those developers. Yeah. I would call those developers probably the third wave after the first add-ons started to come out. Because the first add-ons we're talking about like Genesis, Phoenix, Robin Hood.
I remember
Ice Films.
Those other two I don't remember.
Yeah, those were like way like you had to know somebody. And then when they started to get popular, they changed names. So Genesis went to like Exodus.
Exodus, yeah.
And then Exodus freaking blew up to like Elysium and Placenta, Neptune, Trident, What the Fork. It just blew the hell up. I'm just like, dude, you guys have no time. Like, come on, like come up with your own damn thing.
That was all part of TK, wasn't it?
He was with some of them.
Yeah, I was thinking What the Fork was one of his.
What the Forks was Solus.
Okay.
If you know who Solus was.
I think I had one that was called Fork Off, but that wasn't Cody. So yeah, we've talked about that. That's what I think you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah.
What the Fork was Solus. I was with that team way back when too, when we were putting that stuff together. I was pretty big on the Cody stuff. I was very I was doing my Cody tutorials, my videos. I was learning stuff in the background, and it's funny because me and Next Level, like he came into the whole APK stuff, and I'm like, what the hell is this APK crap?
Yeah,
Get back, go back to add-ons.
Yeah, and Next Level was actually I think probably when I got real interested into the APKs. I mean, I was doing them, and then some of his video between him, I know Doc Squiffy had some going, and Tech Doctor UK, and so those were like my three, and then I got I think Next Level, his presentation of the way he does things is so simple, yeah, and like it'd be like the average person just up there doing the same thing that he's doing, and I think that's what makes him a magnet to people watching his videos on how to do APKs, because it's like the average person sitting there talking to you doing it, not someone every 3 seconds check out my
IP VPN or this or buy that, or
check out my IP vanish.
Yeah.
Explosion. Now, if you guys, if anybody's out there listening, and if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say explosions, you're missing out. You need to watch. I have a couple YouTube videos that came out in the month of August. You're just gonna have to go on an Easter egg hunt. Play any of my videos from the month of August, probably within the first 5 videos of the month. I did a little infomercial about IP Vanish, and I kind of did a couple cameos, and you'll have to go and watch it before I spill it. It's pretty.
And guaranteed you'll see a side at Next Level.
Guaranteed. Don't get me started, man. I'll go.
He messages me one day. He's like, "Hey, I need a picture of you with no hair." I'm like, okay, here's this one, here's that one, here's this one. He's like, I want this one. It's cheesy as fuck. Like, thanks, Rojas. Thanks.
It was awesome. Guaranteed.
Speaking about YouTubers, Paper, what are some of the first streaming YouTubers that you can remember watching?
Wow. I remember Husham.
Yeah.
Solo Man, Target,
yeah,
Doc Squiffy, Tech Doctor. Those are probably the first ones that I can remember and think of their names. I know there were people before that, but as far as name-wise, I'm not quite sure of. But I would probably know it if I heard it.
Probably would have ran into like Electrical MD.
Yes. Yep.
And New Tech Evolution, probably.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. New Tech, definitely. Yep.
But then when you really started getting interested again, you're saying that you weren't even looking for Cody anymore. You were looking for APKs.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that mean that you found me before you found Rojas?
I did.
What?
Now, okay, so okay, I'm gonna throw a name out there. I'm gonna throw a name out there and see if you know what I'm talking about. There's another YouTuber. See if this rings a bell or not. Cody Tutorials.
Yes.
That was me.
Yeah,
that was me when I had no face. I'm wondering because
he was prettier then.
I was I did. So if you know Cody Tutorials, I switched my name to Rojas Reviews before Next Level came out. And I started to do a few different things. I was still doing Cody videos, but then I started to do box reviews too on top of that, and build reviews. I used to do just add-ons and how to get into settings. So I always tell people, if you know who Cody Tutorials is, you've probably been listening to me since 2016, 2017. Yeah. So it lasted it was about a year. I want to say I had the Cody Tutorials name for 1 year. And I didn't show my face. It was just the faceless.
Well, Then
And people didn't know me until way later.
I probably watched you before Next Level. Then,
he had to win that one. I know,
but I didn't know you before Next Level. So.
Yeah, you didn't know me until there. You go, Next Level. Are you happy?
That's funny.
Explosions.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome. So when you switched over to APKs, what was the first set of APKs that you're just like, this is pretty cool?
Mobdro.
Free Live.
Yeah, Mobdro. Terrarium. That was about the two that really blew my mind was Mobdro and Terrarium.
That's all you needed too. Back back when they were out, that's all you needed.
And then Mobdro kind of got to the point where you clicked on HBO and we're watching ABC. You just never knew what you were going to get. It's kind of like playing the lottery whenever you click the channel on Mobdro. And but then after it seemed like after that it was just an avalanche of. There were so many APKs coming out that you just couldn't keep. You couldn't keep up with them.
Right.
And it's pretty much continued even through today. I mean, there's new ones every day that are just out there, and it's like, check this one out, check this one out, check this one out. Oh, hold up, wait, where'd that one come from?
Yeah. Let me finish with this one first. I like it.
Yeah.
I remember trying to keep up with them because I ran my filing store, so every time a new one would come out, I'd try to drop it in. And then after a little while, I was like, okay, I got to have some kind of standards here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, okay, if I want to promote it, it's got to at least be Fire Stick friendly. And then when you looked around, you're like, shit, nothing's Fire Stick friendly.
Yeah.
And then you were waiting for that next one that was Fire Stick friendly, and the one after that. And that's when like applications started upping their game, when they started coming up with better user interfaces and stuff like that.
Come around, and Mouse Toggle was a godsend. That was a definite needed APK for. Too bad it didn't come out, like 2 years or a year ahead of time before it did, because a lot of those other APKs are just kind of washed away. Where it probably or could have been big, but.
Yeah.
So after APKs, are you back onto Kodi? Are you jumping into Plex? What are you doing now?
I'm still with APKs for the most part. I'm just trying now to learn how to get through Kodi and stuff again, and the operations. And it's kind of like, people say it's kind of like riding a bike, and it is in a sense. But every add-on has its own little thing too in the settings that that's not the same, or doesn't. It may be the same, but it's in a different area, or So that's what I'm trying to learn now is trying to get back into that. And I think eventually I want to learn how to do some skins and stuff, but just first side type work, or not work, but just something to do on the side time. I'm a freak for changing wallpapers and changing icons, and so I would love to learn how to watch some videos and we'll learn how to use Photoshop and how they do it. I've watched some, but like the first couple that I've watched, I'm just like, wait, what? Photoshop is just, and I never realized there was so much that went into an icon.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing the work that actually goes into something so simple, and but I would like to. That's something I'd like to pick up eventually. Is to learn that side of things too. I love to be well rounded in things, and that's hard to do, especially with the way things are now. There's just so much out there now that I've noticed that that well roundedness with a lot of people is becoming smaller and smaller of an angle. That they, just because they simply don't have the time, you only have so many days or hours in a day to go through things. What is it, a puppy? Sorry.
All right.
It's Emmy's new baby.
See the puppy?
It's got baby blue
Hey,
eyes.
puppy.
Hi.
Puppy's like, what the hell's going on here?
Doesn't have a name yet.
He doesn't have a name yet.
His name's
Uh,
Oh.
He's an Australian Shepherd, like Sophie.
that's awesome.
So,
So we are getting towards the end of the show. This was pretty cool. We got to talk about some speeds 2.4. I learned something here with the mesh. Mesh is very new to me, so I thank you for that. But is there anything that you want to tell the people before we go? Anything you want to say, anything you want to throw out there? Go for it.
just I appreciate everybody that's kind of gotten behind me since I started all this. I definitely appreciate everybody. I was talking to my wife the other day that was like, I don't know why I'm getting all these people that are just like keep pushing me, and it's actually been great. And because I've never been that type of person to go out and get something like this, and so it's been overwhelming, of the amount of support that is out there for people that want to start stuff and do things. It's definitely been a blessing because this is my release. This is where I come to just get away and get a break from everyday stress in life, and I couldn't think of a better group of people to spend it with than everybody that's in the community that's around me. So I definitely appreciate all that. And you guys are, wow. I mean, both of you guys are just on a whole nother level of just someone to look up to watch and learn stuff from. Just the way you guys work together and the way you guys can present stuff. It's great. It really is. So I definitely have tremendous amount of respect for you guys and appreciate everything you guys do. So appreciate this having me on here. I mean,
if we can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? We try to make it simple enough for ourselves. And if it's simple enough for us, then it'll be simple enough for everybody else.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
That's the key. And I think that's why, like I said, I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards you guys is it's simple, it's understandable, and you guys are relatable, so.
Awesome. Yeah, much appreciated. We always tell everybody who comes on the show, thank you for coming and blessing our subscribers, our listeners, whoever is out there. We will, in the description below, if you are listening to us in the podcast or on YouTube, we're going to put Paperplate's YouTube channel so that way you guys could find him and then you could learn. There's no one way of doing something. There's always multiple ways, and then you never know what you'll find also. So with all that being said, we really, really appreciate you here. And a couple things that we tell the people: you guys take care and take care of each other.
Stay humble and be patient.
And we'll see you guys soon
on the next one. Peace.
Peace.